never imagined the ending would arrive so quietly, so gently, as if the story of us had run its course without a final fight. I never pictured him walking away. In my mind, I had always assumed there would be shouting, tears, a desperate clash before either of us surrendered. But instead, the words slipped from my lips almost without thought. Words that had been lingering in the hidden corners of my chest for far too long. "I can't keep living like this," I murmured, hardly aware of whether I meant for him to hear, or only for myself. I braced for thunder, for his anger or denial, for a storm to shatter the fragile space between us. But the tempest never came. There was only stillness, so complete it frightened me. When his eyes met mine, I expected fire or confusion, some flicker of protest. Instead, they looked hollow, worn thin by years of carrying truths unspoken. It was as though my confession wasn't a shock, but a long echoing sound he had recognized before I dared to speak it aloud. He didn't argue, didn't reach for me with promises to fix what was broken. Instead, he leaned close. His breath brushed my cheek, and he pressed his lips gently against my temple. That kiss was soft, weightless, yet it carried the heaviness of goodbye. It wasn't longing, it wasn't desire. It was a farewell folded into tenderness. He rose, pulling his coat over his shoulders with deliberate calm, and walked out. The door closed with the faintest click, leaving me rooted where I was, consumed by a silence that was heavier than any fight we had ever endured. I sat frozen, my chest aching with a sharp hollowness. I hadn't chased after him. I hadn't spoken his name. And I realized, even as the emptiness pressed down on me, that those few words had shifted everything. I had thought there would be flames, wild emotion, maybe even the kind of fierce argument that sometimes led to reconciliation. But there was no chaos, just the final quiet. The truth was that it had been unraveling for a long time. Our connection fading in small, invisible ways. The exhaustion, the distance, the hurts left unspoken. We had become partners only in the practical sense, bound by routines and responsibilities, but no longer by the spark that once defined us. Love had drained away slowly, like water slipping through a crack we pretended wasn't there. As I looked at him one last time, he met my gaze with a small nod, weighted with sorrow. That silent gesture said everything words could not. That he too had been waiting. That he too had known we were past saving. He didn't rage or plead. He simply accepted. And when he kissed my temple, it was a seal on the life we had built together, and on its quiet end. He left without another word. His footsteps faded down the hall, and then he was gone. I didn't stop him, because deep down I knew this wasn't his choice alone. It was mine too. We had both carried the weight of what we had lost, both let it slip through our fingers, too worn down to hold it together any longer. But knowing that didn't soften the ache. The next morning was unbearable. The children woke with their usual laughter, filling the house with innocent noise. I went through the motions, pouring juice, tying small shoes, flipping pancakes. Yet everything felt distorted, as if the world tilted slightly off its axis. His side of the bed was untouched, cold and still. His shoes no longer waited by the door. His coat no longer hung in the hallway. The absence was sharp, cutting through every ordinary moment. The house, once alive with our family's messy joy, now felt like a hollow shell echoing with what used to be. I kept waiting, half expecting to hear his key in the door, to see him step back inside with something to say. But each day stretched longer, the silence harder, and the truth clearer. He wasn't coming back. And what I missed most wasn't just his presence. It was the way he used to make me laugh when I swore I couldn't. The way his nearness had once been my comfort, my home. Now all of that was gone, sealed into a kiss pressed against my temple, a goodbye disguised as tenderness, and the quiet closing of a door that would not open again.